Alright everybody, I've got my LED turned on here for my garden tank. That's usually how I start the day down here in the fish room. I let this shine for about an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. It gives the rest of the fish in the room some time to feel like they're awake a little bit before the lights just come on, because it's very dark in here otherwise. So it kind of reduces the amount of shock that the fish go through when the lights come on. Except of course for these poor little guys who suddenly get blasted with light the moment it comes on. So now we're going to go around and go through the rest of my morning routine and getting all my other tanks turned on, and we'll see if there's anything interesting to see as we do it. So Butterbean is always first here. I now have the switches up here on top. I used to have them on a single switch down below, but I had to put different lighting back on the tank, so now we got to manually turn each of the fixtures on. So I can see him doing his thing in the back corner. That's just about where he always goes first thing in the morning when I turn the lights on. He likes to hide underneath the heater over there. So everything looks okay in that tank. My 29 looks okay. Don't see anything unusual going on in there. Now most of this side of the room is all on one switch. Looks like a room full of mirrors until the tank lights come on. So down underneath here is a plug strip that has a bunch of these tanks plugged in, and you'll be able to see my native tank when the lights first come on. Everybody usually goes helter-skelter in there. I don't see any crayfish out and about. Don't see anything untoward going on in my T-bar tank. My little chocolate gourami right there still doing well. Everybody else seems to be doing okay. Don't see any floaters or anything in here. I don't see my whiptail catfish at the moment, but that doesn't mean anything. I often don't see that whiptail catfish. It's good at hiding. So until I've got reason to suspect anything is amiss, then I'm going to assume that everything is fine in that tank. Everything looks okay here in my T-bar tank. My black ghost knifefish tank gets turned on by itself, and I'm down to one fixture on this tank too. I do have other fixtures, these 3-foot Core Life fixtures that I'm kind of lukewarm about. I'm not crazy about them, but I don't hate them either. I do have a couple more in the other room that I took off of another tank, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and replace this one with one of the ones in the other room. As far as my issue with it going through tubes fairly rapidly, I bought a 10-pack of tubes for that reason, and I've only used a few of them, and I don't have any other 3-foot T5 application. So if I don't use these tubes in these fixtures, I've just got a box of tubes sitting in the other room that serves no purpose. So while it might be a little wasteful to put these tubes in there knowing that these fixtures probably are going to chew through them, at the same time, who cares? They're just sitting in the other room not being used at all. At least this way I'll be able to get my tank fully lit again, and maybe down the road, I'll be able to afford to do something differently or whatever. In the meantime, it'll be a solution to my partially lit tank here. Everything seems to be okay in my native tank. Don't see anything really going on. Don't really see any floaters or anything. Unless you want to count all the vegetation, because that takes a beating in this tank. And this whole side of the room is on one plug strip back here, so just pop that on and it turns everybody on all the way down to the snail tank on this end. So the snail tank takes a little while. That fluorescent bulb in there takes a little while to really warm up and get brightly lit. And I just saw out of the corner of my eye the little South American bumblebee catfish dart from this end of the tank down across the front into its little hiding spot. I don't know if the camera was pointed in enough of an angle to actually catch that, but if you saw some rapid movement shooting across the front of the tank, that's what that was. It's the most action I've seen out of that fish since I've owned it. You can see all the detritus moving around, blowing around in the tank. That's from that sudden burst of speed where that little catfish freaked out. Interesting. So it definitely comes out at night. Everything looks okay in here. I did notice my surface skimmer got knocked loose the other day, and I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that it was my Tenopoma there that did it. He likes to wedge himself between the upright of the surface skimmer, basically that little, you know, he gets right in between there, and that's where he likes to sleep a lot of times. So probably something spooked him or something. He got scared and darted, and when he did, he knocked the little floating surface skimmer part off, and I just haven't bothered to get in there and put it back on. It's not hurting anything. It's just a matter of actually just doing it. So everything looks okay there. I will say I'm just now noticing, I shot a video the other day where I spoke about how this sword back here has new growth on it. It was a couple little roots sticking out, and I know again it's hard to see with all this glare and everything, but if you look at it now, those roots have gone crazy. Look at them all. And there, that was just like 3 little roots sticking out just the other day, so that's really a good burst of new growth there. And I do want to talk more about the plants too. Someone mentioned that that is an Anubias and not a sword, and it is actually a sword, but swords and Anubias are very closely related, so I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to talk specifically about Brazilian swords, because everybody spends a lot of money on Brazilian swords when you really don't have to, because you can buy them in pretty much any home and garden center for very inexpensively under a different name. So we'll get to that in a different video. And lastly, we will look in my angelfish tank. Everybody looks okay in here. And then of course in my little quarantine tank down here, all I've got is my little resident female guppy, and she's sitting right back there looking at me. And then I got 2 coolie loaches in here, which I never see, so I don't know whether they're still in there or not. As of a few days ago, I saw them dashing and darting around during a water change, so they were still alive a few days ago. I'm assuming they still are now. So there you go. That's far more drawn out than I normally make it. Obviously shooting a video and chatting about it while I'm doing it. Normally I come in here and just bop bop bop, turn the lights on and give a quick look around, make sure everybody's doing okay, and that's that. So I'm going to go get my day started. Don't know if I'm going to have a whole lot of time this afternoon to get back down here, so this might be my video for the day. I don't know, we'll have to see. But if you're subscribed, you won't miss this or anything else, no matter what it's going to be. You never know. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you real soon on the next one.